This is an R Media podcast. This episode is supported by Vixen, Australian-made skincare powered by plant cell technology and designed to bring real simplicity back to skincare. Love has never been one size fits all, and these are the stories we love to tell at the Australian Women's Weekly. For over 90 years, we've been bringing you stories of hope, of heart and connection that reflect the world we live in. And now it's time for a new chapter with the Australian Women's Weekly Love Stories podcast. Hi, Angel. Just calling to RSVP a big yes, please to Bowie's birthday. Cannot wait to celebrate it with you. While I'm there, though, do remind me to tell you about the incredible chat I had with Nas Campanella and her husband, Tom Oriti. They have a 4-year-old boy, and gosh, their stories about parenting him made me laugh. I can't wait to share them with you over a piece of cake. All right, lovely. I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Love you. Can you cast your mind back to a moment when you very first knew? Was it a laugh over a shared joke or a thoughtful gesture that was performed, some kind of unexpected act? And when that aha moment happened, did it come really quickly or did it take a little bit of time? Well, for the ABC's National Disability Affairs reporter Nas Campanella and her husband, ABC News radio presenter Tom Oriti, that knowing came pretty early on. Nas had flown out to Bega for a job, and it wasn't just any job, it was Tom's job. She'd been sent in there to replace him. But very quickly, it became clear it wasn't just his job she was about to take, it was his heart as well. During their week-long handover period, every night Tom drove Nas home so she wouldn't have to walk there on her own. That drive would lead to a nightly invitation for dinner, and by the end of the week, a grand romance had begun. One that would start long distance before they settled in Sydney and began their own family. Today, Nas and Tom are joining me to talk about how they've kept that knowing alive through life's ups and downs, and how together they are parenting their son Lachie and teaching him about love in all shapes and forms.
The casual ableism that we even experience now. I mean,
it still happens now.
It does. Everyone stares, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, particularly when we have a 4-year-old. You know, I've got a 4-year-old on one arm and Naz on another arm, and everyone stares with this, I guess, misconception. Hang on, is that the mother? The lady there with the white cane? That's the mother of the child. Of course it is. But everyone stares.
I'm Tiffany Dunk, and this is the Australian Women's Weekly Love Stories. Nas and Tom, thank you so much for joining us here on the Love Stories couch.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
It's great to be. It's very cosy in here.
It is, isn't it? And I love that you've dressed in pink, the colour of love. It's really setting us off on the right foot.
It's funny you say that. That was. I'd love to say
it was deliberate, but
we both rocked up today from different parts of Sydney and happened to be wearing pink. But thank you for noticing.
Oh, that's gorgeous. That couple intuition.
That's right. That's what I'd like to think. Couple intuition. Yeah.
Not just the first jacket that was on the top of the pile.
No. Let's lean into the romance.
The one shirt I had ironed. But yeah, no, thank you. It was completely coincidental, but it worked out all right.
Gorgeous. Well, given you've been a couple for a little while now, I'd love to know, is there a love song that really you feel like sums up the relationship that the two of you have?
Ooh. Well, when we got... So we've been together for 14 years and got married 8 years ago now.
That is a really long time.
It flies, doesn't it? So when at our wedding, we danced to Nat King Cole, L-O-V-E, which I know is probably a bit of a stereotypical wedding dance song, isn't it? But that was the one we loved.
I felt like it wasn't, though, because at the time everyone was having their first dance to Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
One of those songs, and I wanted something a little bit different, and we wanted something fun and fast. And you love jazz, and
I do, and we bonded. You walk down the aisle to the theme from Love Actually, the movie.
Yes, I love movies.
So some of the music from that as well. So we've bonded actually over film and a love of film and that kind of thing in music quite a lot over the years. So it's almost hard to limit it to a
It
song
is, and we met down the far south coast of New South Wales, and we used to drive around a lot to the beaches, and Tom would show me around the region. We'd be listening to Fleetwood Mac constantly.
True.
So music's kind of been a bit of a constant, actually.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, Fleetwood Mac would have been the first album that we binged, Rumours, I reckon, for quite a long time.
And we have music on at home all the time.
Yeah. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a step backwards to before you met each other. And I'd really like to know, what did love look like for both of you individually ahead of that point?
These are really interesting questions. Well, you want to go first?
No, you can go first.
All right.
Don't want to get anyone in trouble here.
Companionship was a big one. So when we're both from Sydney, but we didn't meet in Sydney. So we were both cadets at the ABC, in ABC News, a couple of years apart. But the way the cadetship worked at the ABC then, and it's changed a little bit, is you did your year in Sydney. For us, it was a Sydney newsroom. And then they said, well done, you've got a job at the ABC, but you've got to go to a regional area.
Right.
Go to a regional area. So I went down to Bega 16 years ago and began my career as a journalist in Bega. And then a couple of years down the track, I was set to go back to Sydney, and then Nas came down to replace me. So even though we're both not only from Sydney but from Western Sydney, fairly similar part of Sydney, we met 7 hours down to the far south coast. But for at least a couple of years there, when I was working down in Bega, I loved life down there. It's a beautiful part of the world. It was lonely. I was living in a regional retiring village, basically. There weren't a lot of people my age. Anyone who was my age moved out to go to uni or to move to the city. And there I found myself in my early to mid-20s living in quite a beautiful but sleepy little town. And after a couple of years, it was lonely. It was lonely. And then when I met Nas, it was that sense of not being lonely anymore and having that companion. I mean, we were very much great friends.
Yeah, straight
away. Honestly, day one, really. We had so many commonalities.
Yeah, and I think conversation came really easily, and it was just, we were just really good friends.
Yeah, people often ask, when was your first date? And we actually don't.
We don't know
because on the first few days we started going out to dinner together, and then we probably did it as friends. Or as new colleagues getting to know each other. It's actually quite a blur when the friendship became something more romantic, I guess, in all seriousness. But it was that feeling for me that I had a companion and that I wasn't lonely anymore. And I guess that was a really special part of that bond.
Yeah.
And
for you, Nas, going back to ahead of you arriving in Bega, same question. What did love look like for you up until that point?
I don't know the answer to this question, so I can't wait to hear it.
I think for me, I was having a bit of a tough time before moving down to Bega. I think life had sort of, I was at a point where there was so much going on in life, and just trying to figure out, sort of who I was and where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And I felt like it was one of those moments where I just needed to go somewhere new, do something different. Friendships had changed and lots of things had changed in my life. And so for me, I was actually offered, after my cadetship year, a full-time ongoing job in Sydney, and I burst into tears and absolutely did not want to take it. And everyone was saying to me, why on earth would you decline that? Like, that's what every cadet dreams of. But I was yearning for something, just a new experience, and to go off and just kind of find myself a little bit. And so moving down to Bega was brilliant. The nearest friends or family were kind of 6 or 7.5 hours drive away. I really had to rely on no one else but myself. And we met, and it was just, we'd hit it off straight away. And I think I just knew it was going to be a magical year for multiple reasons. And so,
it's funny because you came down to replace me, but I ended up staying a lot longer.
Well, he'd been asking to leave the office for a long time and go back to Sydney, and then all of a sudden I came back down, and he was really keen to stay. And I think the bosses were sort of thinking, like, why on earth do you want to stay now after pleading with us for kind of 6 to 8 months to leave?
I think we did a pretty good job as well at keeping that secret in the office for a significant amount of time, actually.
Yeah, a little while.
Yeah. Like when we realised it might be something more than friendship, we were working in a very, very close-knit small office in Bega in the main street.
We were literally at the adjacent desk.
Yeah, but no one had a clue for a number of months, I'd say. And they were all quite surprised at the end. I don't know. I mean, in hindsight, I don't know why there was no reason to keep it secret.
No, I think we were just trying to be professional in the office.
Yeah. Well, I think especially when you're that age, you want to, and you're working in a very competitive industry, you do want to try and do the right thing.
Yeah,
so,
true.
Okay, so you arrive in town, you're there to take Tom's heart. Little does he know you're about to steal his heart instead. Sorry, take Tom's job. Take Tom's job, but you stole his heart.
Bit of both.
Bit of both. So, and I know you've mentioned this to the Weekly before that Tom offered to drive you home so you didn't have to walk home. So that's how, he had this great grand chivalrous moment, which I loved, and that's how the dinners.
That's true.
So my mum was staying with me for that first week, and so him dropping me home meant that, of course, Italian mum, she invited him in for dinner. But then the dinner, because it was an impromptu thing, wasn't very good that night. So he had to come back the next night so she could home make pasta and, make her sauce from scratch. And then that turned into the third night and the fourth night because he'd mentioned all these other things that he'd never eaten before. And then on the fifth night, I think I actually said to him, I would rather just walk home. If you don't mind, you can drop me, but you're not staying for dinner. It's just.
But what that was a real icebreaker too, because the moment I met Nas, I met her parents as well, because they came down to drop her in Bega. So there was never any awkward meet the parents moment later on. I think I met them first. I met them before I met you.
I think I was chatting to someone and you met mum and dad first.
Yeah.
I was having a good old chat to them.
So there was never any, we're a couple now, you got to meet my mum and dad. Nothing like that at all, because we met them simultaneously, So it was just, that was quite that sort of, I guess, helped things blossom to a certain extent. But the first week, it was getting to know you and your mum.
Yeah.
Together. Our first dinner date, you could argue, was also with your mum.
And they're the best of friends, Mum, Dad and Tom. So there you go.
That's nice.
True, yeah.
So you said it started as friendship and then obviously it turned into something more. When did that sort of moment of knowing come for each of you? Was there a moment you went, I think?
Yeah, that's a good question. Was there a it's a very good question. I don't know if I feel like I knew very early on. Mm-hmm. I just didn't tell you that. And was trying to remain professional.
I think it took me a little longer to
Thank you for your honesty. Yeah.
No, a few weeks. But I think it was just knowing that you were my person. I don't know. I don't know what it was about it.
I remember a few days into your first week of us working together, I remember driving to work one day, and I do remember thinking, I wish I'd love to think that she was the one.
Okay.
It was on the Wednesday or Thursday of that first week.
Oh, that's cute.
And then I went and I was like, I better do something special. And you just moved into your house and you said you needed a bottle opener, so I went to Coles. And
that was the first gift you brought me.
And got you a wine bottle opener. Remember that?
Actually, not a bottle of wine, a wine opener.
No, it was the corkscrew.
No, not even the wine, just the corkscrew.
From Big W or something. And but just so you know now, that when I bought you that corkscrew thing, it was that morning on the way to work where I thought, okay, I've really got to go all out here.
Some people get nice jewelry. I get a corkscrew.
My God,
that all came later, but I thought I'd start low.
For me, we went out to dinner one night to the Tathra pub.
Yeah.
And we ordered a seafood platter. And I think that night I was like, oh, okay, I think this is something serious. So I'm going to pay for the meal.
Yeah,
because I want him to know that this is the kind of girl I am.
Oh.
So Naz got the bottle opener and I got a seafood
platter
at the Tathra pub.
Yeah, you definitely got the better end of the deal.
It was, and that was probably that meal you talk about, I think it was a few weeks in. It wasn't long. It certainly wasn't long. But for me, I'd say it was probably a number of days looking back.
Okay, we're going to take a quick pause now. And when we come back, Nas and Thomas are going to tell us about how they've built a life together, as well as Nas's deeply personal journey to becoming a mother. I'll see you in a bit. Confession time, guys. I'm really lazy when it comes to my skincare routine. To be honest, I'm lucky if I remember to wash my face at night and don't even go into applying all those different steps of toners, serums, creams, all the different things. It's why Vixen's all-in-one moisturiser was such a game changer for me when I came across it last year. Just one step, done. But I found a new secret weapon and it's become just as easy to add into my lazy girl routine. Vixen's Shake to Activate Super Vita Serum is lightweight, it smells divine, and it's really good for hydration. And I've got super dry skin, so that's been really great for me. All you need to do is just shake the bottle, apply a couple of drops to your face, and then whack on that moisturiser. And literally, what could be simpler than that? I'll let you in on another secret. If you go to vixen.com.au to purchase now, just add in the code LOVESTORIES, that's Love Stories, all one word, at checkout, and you'll get an extra 30% off. You're welcome. For you, Tom, like, were there things that you had to either learn or unlearn about becoming a partner when you met Nas?
Yeah, it's a really good point. You need to learn, obviously, to share your space. I'd lived on my own, and when you're in a regional part of, the country, often, you're not living in a little shoebox. Like, you can get a lot more for the rent that you pay in those areas. So I had a lot of space, and I quite liked that. But you had to learn to obviously, to coexist with someone. I think, though, there's a misconception some people might have about Nas being blind and the need to adjust too much of your life for that. I had to do very little, really. I'd love to think that, I did more to, I don't know, help you choose your outfit, which we did not do today, and it just randomly worked out, or makeup or anything like that. I do very, very little. Nas has always been fiercely independent. And
often he does things around the house and I redo them.
Yeah.
So he's not allowed to fold the towels, not allowed to make the bed.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just don't like how he does it.
So I'd love to say that I did more to adjust and that I need to do more. I don't. Nas is just so fiercely independent. One thing that worked so well for us is we are both obsessively tidy.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Now, in a way, for Nas, that's a necessity because of Nas's vision impairment. We need to remember where we've put things so you don't lose them. But before I even met Nas, I was always obsessively put things back where you found them, make sure everything's tidy. Years before I met
And I'm
Nas.
very much the same as well. It's actually, I know so many blind people who just put things down, mindlessly and walk away and don't care where they are. If they're in the same spot, it doesn't matter. I have never been like that.
Yeah.
I think regardless of my vision impairment, I would put the remote in the same spot all the time. I've got a color-coded wardrobe. And our son is
exactly the
same now too.
Really?
It's very funny to watch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, very
the genetics
funny.
are strong.
It's interesting.
Well, also I think because he mimics a lot of, particularly my behaviour, good and bad, but he sees the way I pack things for him, and he has learnt very quickly that he can't leave things lying around because mummy will trip or mummy can't find certain things. So there wasn't too much adjustment with that.
No, it's funny that I was like that before I ever knew in my life I'd be living with someone with a vision impairment. I just was. I always was, and so it just worked so well. We could coexist together very easily, very early on.
There were little things like you realising that you didn't need to leave the lights on when you left the house.
So now when I leave Nas on her own, I just turn the lights off, and everyone thinks, what are you doing? You've just left your wife in the dark. But it's because she doesn't know that she's in the dark.
And you're being mindful of your power bill. I love that.
That's currently with power prices, it works out quite well. But
and other
we
things
do.
like, if he's putting things in the sink, like sharp objects or whatever, he'll let me know, like, that they're facing a certain way. Those are tiny things you adjusted.
Yes.
But apart from those two little things, those are things that anyone would.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
navigate.
I mean, God, it's such an adjustment, right? When you move in with a partner and you've had your own space, and as you said, Naz, you've been so fiercely independent as well. So yeah,
One of the things I think, actually, which is quite funny, is like you used to be a hoarder.
Oh,
You used to keep everything.
No, sorry, that was a huge adjustment.
And I'm the total opposite. I am so minimalist. And so that was one thing
I
had
learnt to cull.
I
Yeah.
made him cull so quickly.
I learnt to cull. I did, you're right. And now I look back, it's been 14 years and I feel, give me credit, I feel like I've gotten over this.
You have.
But I would not throw anything out. And not like, just, I don't know, old notebooks from work and all that kind of stuff, bits of paper that I thought I needed, things like that. I would keep everything and I'd have a reason for keeping it. And Naz...
There was no reason.
no.
Naz eliminated that from my consciousness completely. So, yeah, that's true. That was a big adjustment.
That was the biggest
She
adjustment.
taught me to be minimalist.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, and it works out quite well now.
Excellent. So obviously you hung around for a little bit longer than you meant to in Bega, but then there came a point where you did move and you guys did long distance for a bit. Is that correct?
We did, but it's funny because I had a big 2-month-long Europe trip planned, but so did Naz.
3 days apart to exactly the same destinations.
Stop it.
And we did briefly consider one of us changing our trips and going together. But I think we decided or maybe it was
no.
me who decided, no, we're going to do this separately. We've only just met and I'm glad we did.
Yeah, so we actually went our own separate ways and our own planned Europe trips for a while. And I think looking back, I don't know about you, but I guess I thought, well, this will be the test of the relationship, won't it? Like
absolutely.
if we do go off and continue with our own trips that we planned long before we met and we came back and still wanted to pursue this, then that's a good sign. And what do you know? We came back and everything was exactly the same. So we did do the long distance thing, myself in Sydney and Naz down the south coast for a while, which is it's a 7-hour drive. So it was a fair distance.
Yeah.
But the long distance thing combined with the trips, I think sort of strengthened us really, didn't it?
I think so. And I think we were always very strong as individuals. And I think that's really important. And I think that's what I was thinking about when we were talking about whether to combine our trips, because I sort of always imagined that I would do, a fair amount of travel by myself and kind of know who I was. And I think it was definitely the right decision to make.
Yeah.
And we were a better couple because of it, I think.
That's true.
Because we were sort of very wholeheartedly confident in who we were as individuals.
And we have since now travelled to 30 plus countries together.
Yes. It's funny, we talk about bonding over music. It's really music and travel have
Yeah.
been
And
our
food.
two constants.
Yeah.
And it's been really interesting to see, we've always brought different, ideas of where to go to the table, and some of the places that Thomas thought, do we really need to go there? And he's just absolutely loved them, or, you've brought me out of my comfort zone with certain things. It's been really great.
When I look back at some of the stuff we've done, I can't believe we did. I don't know if I'd do it now. We've sort of walked through Morocco, travelled through Morocco together.
The back of camels.
We
Wow.
climbed
Jungle.
up Angkor Wat in Cambodia,
Amazing.
which was terrifying.
Yeah, and we actually had a guy before we went to Angkor Wat say, you definitely can't take her there.
Why?
Well, I got really defensive and I was like, don't you tell her what she can and can't do. And then we showed up and we're like, oh dear, I think he was right.
And then we had to do it. And I remember at one point you saying to me, do not move a single centimetre to the right, otherwise you are going to fall.
It was huge
but
drops
we were-
and cobblestones,
Yeah.
and the guy was looking out for us, to be fair.
But
We did it.
we
We did
did
it.
do it, and it was terrifying. But yeah, we have done some incredible things, trekking through the jungles of Laos and eating through Japan, and it's been magic.
We did. Yeah, we certainly have. Yeah,
Driving around Iceland.
Yeah, Norway. Yeah,
it's
it's been
been beautiful.
Travel has certainly strengthened us, and that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was going to look at the one core thing that kind of encapsulates that bond, it probably would be our love of travel.
Yeah.
We haven't
And
done
food.
it for a while now.
No, well, look, let's move to the next stage then.
Yeah.
So, live together, share house. Then I'm assuming moved into a place of your own.
Indeed, yeah.
When did the conversation of marriage and starting a family come up?
Very early on, I think we knew we were going to do it.
Yeah.
we got engaged in 2017, but you moved back in, or 2013.
2013.
So wow. Geez, I waited a bit, didn't I?
That was good, because I think the deal I had made him was we have to buy a place before you propose.
Right.
And he was very lucky that the day he proposed was the day we found out we were buying a place.
Yay.
So who knows what would have happened.
Oh my God,
I had
what
a ring
beautiful
to give
day.
Naz. Yeah, we went back down to where we met. So we went back down the south coast to our favourite little rock, and I had a ring there.
Yeah.
And then we were going to that site. Naz didn't know this, obviously. We were going to that site, and I was going to give her the ring, and the real estate agent calls and says, "Oh, the purchase is successful." And I was walking up to give her the ring.
God, I love
So he's very lucky.
Yes. Well, that's a memorable day for sure.
It was, yeah. So, but it was I think we knew for a number of years before we sort of before we did it, and then. But by the time we got married, we'd been together for 6 years, I think.
Yeah, 6 years.
So we kind of knew at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thought of starting a family again, like when, what conversations did you have around that, and when did you decide this was something you definitely wanted to do together?
I think, again, we knew early on that we wanted to have a family. I don't know that we necessarily had the conversation that as early as we kind of had the same conversation about getting married eventually. But I think we knew inherently that we wanted to have a baby.
You're sorry to put words in your mouth, but you've mentioned to me in the past that you went through a period where you didn't think you would.
I didn't think I would, because I didn't for a long time think that I would meet anyone that would want to have kids with me.
Why?
To be fair,
Why was
my
that a thought?
my conditions are genetic, and so, and I think for a long time I felt like I didn't know whether I would meet and fall in love with someone who who would want to do that with me. But I think as soon as I met you, I realised I did. And none of that was an issue for you.
Yeah.
So
Did that surprise you to hear Naz's voice?
That she didn't think she'd ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Obviously, as someone who fell in love with Naz at a very early stage, that didn't compute with me.
Yeah.
This concept that she'd never find a companion to have a child with.
Yeah.
And the genetic stuff was raised. So Naz's brother has a similar condition, similar vision impairment, but he can see.
yeah.
It didn't bother me at all. Didn't bother me at all.
I think it was just I think for me, as soon as we had the conversation, I was totally at ease and relaxed. And I think as someone for me who's had, constant ableism throughout my life, and it doesn't matter whether it's parenting, whether it's finding companionship, whether it's finding a job, there has always been ableist comments that have been thrown my way by people that I know, people that I don't know. And so for me, it's very easy to internalize some of that. And so it sounds awful to say that about myself now, but that's what happens when you have that constantly thrown at you. And so, it's...
Yeah, I mean, the casual ableism that we even experience now. I mean,
It still
everyone
happens now.
It does. Everyone stares, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, particularly when we have a 4-year-old. I've got a 4-year-old on one arm and Naz on another arm, and everyone stares with this, I guess, misconception. Hang on, is that the mother? The lady there with the white cane, that's the mother of the child. Of course it is. But everyone stares, right? And you just sort of learn to shrug that off and ignore it. But regularly, we'll be at a restaurant, for example, and someone will come up and say, "Oh, what would she like to order?"
Right.
I remember
And they'll
going for
ask
my
me.
36-week scan and someone behind the desk saying to me, or to Tom, what's her date of birth?
Yeah, can you tell me her date of birth? And Naz is standing right there.
Yeah. Baby's in my belly, guys. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
across this.
Yes.
And but they will. It's quite a lot. What would she like? Would
lots
she
of
like a receipt
people
for that?
Assume that you, and you're an incredible father and do a lot for us, but assuming that you do the lion's share of everything to do with Lachie.
Yeah.
Far from the truth.
Just because.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the ableism, and I'm not. There's no malice there either. I just don't think they're used to talking to someone who is blind. They don't know what to do. So I'm not being accusatory. I don't think there's any malice, but it's all the time. And so I guess when you think about that, and when I think about what Naz would have dealt with her whole life, how that manifests into this idea maybe I'll never meet someone. Yeah, I guess it makes sense she'd feel like that. But of course it surprised me. Yeah.
I think for you, it still sometimes gets you quite angry. Those comments and things. For me, it's been, 37 years of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like water off a duck's back now. But
it shouldn't be though.
There are times, well, I just tend not to, I don't care what people think and say. But there are times, for example, where we are doing grocery shopping and our kid is, throwing a tantrum because he hasn't been able to buy a Kit Kat or whatever it is. And Tom will sometimes say, oh my gosh, I'm just going to do the groceries on my own. The two of you can stay at home. And I often say to him, we're not staying at home because we need to be seen as a family out and about and doing what any other family does. It is completely normal for, 4-year-old to throw a tantrum and all that kind of thing. And we need to be seen because if we're not seen, then many other families with parents with disability won't be seen either.
Yeah.
And then we'll never change that stigma and that stereotype. So it's a very big conscious thing for us to make sure that we are living our best lives, in public and not worried about what anyone else thinks or says.
And can I also qualify that by saying a lot of people are really lovely?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I would say the vast majority of people are lovely and they're supportive.
I think they're just intrigued about how we navigate things.
Yeah.
And most of the time, to be fair, they're staring because our son is saying something outrageous. Or
it's nothing to do with Nas.
It's actually nothing to do with me anymore and everything to do with the fact that our son is, just being an absolute personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, it's often made me sad to think that Nas went through life for a long time not thinking that she'd find a companion, and it doesn't compute with me at all. But thankfully it didn't work out that way.
You clearly found your person.
Yeah.
So you've agreed, yes, children, let's go. Nas, in the last chat that you had with The Weekly, you talked about the preparation that you did as someone who is blind to get yourself ready to have a baby. And I found that fascinating. I'd love if you could explain that a little bit for people listening.
Yeah, well, I have multiple disabilities. So one is the blindness, the obvious one, and then the other is a neurological condition, and that's called Charcot-Marie-Tooth. It is also genetic, and it basically affects my muscle tone, my balance, my sensitivity, which is why I have a lack of sensitivity in my fingertips and I can't read Braille.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the things I had to prep for pregnancy were more around my neurological condition, not so much my vision impairment. And I think I really only discovered that when I was prepping for things. I think everyone thought the vision impairment would be the quote unquote issue, but it really was, doing things like exercise physiology to make sure that, I was doing weight training, for example, to make sure that I could actually pick up the baby and that I could get up off the couch with baby in my arms and, not have to sort of use my hand to pull myself up.
Yeah.
It was things like making sure that we had, adaptable clothing for the baby. So things like magnetic suits, zippy suits, none of those sort of press studs because I have a poor dexterity in my fingertips. I mean, I would argue that no one should be using press studs because they're awful. But things like that. And then other bits of equipment, for example, talking thermometers.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else. It's been a little while now that but things like that, and making sure the setup in the room, for example, so I could go from, the cot straight to the change table, having an armchair really nearby, making sure that, if our son was sick, where the syringes with medication was in the fridge. Having a place with no stairs was really good as well, because it meant I could just walk around and be holding our baby. Just all of those little things I think were the key things that I had to prepare. And it was having the right team. So, making sure that we had midwife, obstetrician, we had kind of, it was a high-risk pregnancy, so we had a really amazing care team around us. Our midwife became, a very close friend. But then after having baby as well, making sure that, for example, I couldn't use a pram because I had to hold my cane.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and look, some people who are vision impaired do use what's called a pram tow, where they strap put a strap around their waist and they tow the pram behind them. I didn't want to use that because of my poor balance. I didn't want to sort of accidentally topple over when I was walking in the street, for example, and then the pram topple over as well. So using a pram was not an option. Using a chest, what do you call those things?
Like the chest carrier.
carriers.
Chest carrier wasn't an option because I was worried about my balance. Right. So I had to ensure that I had, for example, a doula who also became a very close friend of ours, who would come and she would take us out a couple of times a week. We were in very close contact with a child, maternal nurse as well to help with, feeding and wrapping and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But it was very practical skills, which,
And
I think any parent should have access to.
Well, that's right. I was feeling like any new mum and dad needs, like, if you haven't done it before, how the hell are you supposed to
that's
know?
it. Yeah. All of that stuff, apart from some of the mobility stuff, is, you're right. It's quite normal for any couple going through that parenting journey.
Yeah.
Like it didn't feel like we had to make any massive major adjustments at all, really. And for even honestly things that I thought Nas might struggle with as a mum with a vision impairment or other disabilities, she just hasn't. And there are still advantages now in that our little boy is crazy and does a lot of very daredevil things. And so I regularly say to Nas now, I'm just so glad you can't see what he does.
I am so glad I can't see him. He scales our fence, he climbs trees, he jumps off things, and I am so grateful I can't see it.
It'll be a weekly thing now, isn't it, where I say I'm just so glad that you cannot witness what is it.
It means I'm not a helicopter parent, and sometimes Tom will say, where did he get this bruise from? Oh, I don't know, probably from jumping off something. Like it's just, you've got to let kids play and learn. And
you're rewilding without even meaning to.
That's true. Like,
exactly.
It is.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. It takes away. Like we do have to trust him and let him go and take.
I have to say he is
risks.
Very good with me. He never runs off. Like I obviously do daycare pick up and, we get in and out of, cars and things like that. So he never runs off on me. He always stays nearby. He knows that if he is going a short distance away from me, that he has to continue to talk to me so that I know where he is. And he is constantly at the park, for example. I'll always take someone with vision to the park with us. But if Lachie chooses to step away, then he will say, Mum, I'm over here.
Yeah, he's
so
very
I can
good.
hear him.
Oh,
He's
what a beautiful
extremely attuned to what I need. And he will actually, we've been at playgrounds where other children will put things in the way and he will actually yell at them to say, my mummy can't see, you need to pack up your toys. And it's really quite beautiful to see him educating other children now.
Which is what's really, because it normalises disability at the daycare, for example, right? So now having a mum there with a white cane walking with Lachie, all of the other kids in the daycare don't think twice about it. They asked some funny questions initially.
They did.
They've got no filter.
No filter at all. And I love talking to children about my disabilities. What I love now is, the kids know that if they want my attention, they come up, they tap my shoulder, they tell me their name. They know that if they want to show me a book, they need to sit down and let me feel it. I'm trying to think of some other little examples. They always say, Lachie's over here when I walk in.
Yeah, all of the kids are aware of Nas's disability. They don't think twice about it at all. And they all help. They'll grab your hand. It's really, really lovely.
They walk me around. I mean, sometimes they forget they need to slow down or move the chairs out of the way, but, it's all part of learning. And what I love is that it's clear they have cottoned on naturally, but also their parents are clearly spotting me at drop off and pick up. And when their children ask questions, they're clearly very comfortable at explaining things to them, and it's wonderful.
That's so great because, as you said before, it's sort of people sometimes being well-meaning but just not knowing, right? Not having the experience. And this is now, showing people in a very organic...
Exactly. Yeah. And it's worked. And the worst thing that people could do is... you like when people ask questions.
I love when people ask questions.
Around.
What I don't like is when, for example, the child asks me a question and the mum or dad or parent pulls them away, says don't ask or that's rude or stop staring. No, don't do that. Let them ask. Let them look. Let them be curious because the minute you stop children from doing that is the minute they become scared and we are othered and we are that different person that they shouldn't be speaking to. And the reality is we're exactly the same. We just do life a little bit differently. And I love talking about how differently we do it.
Yeah.
And I think kids have that just beautiful innate sense. They don't know, right? Like
and nothing matters. You just tell them, oh, yeah, my eyes don't work in the same way as you.
Yeah.
And they just accept it and go off, and it's like nothing.
Never comes up again.
Yeah.
No, never comes up again. It's like, oh, okay. And then they walk away.
And then they have the language. Like Lachie says, my mummy's blind. My mummy's eyes don't work the same as your mummy's. And the other children pick up that language and they're using it and hopefully taking it out into the world as grown-ups and making the world a bit more of a less ableist place.
Yeah. Wow, isn't this a gorgeous conversation? Coming up after the break, we're going to talk to Nas and Thomas about the really playful and intentional way they're raising their son to understand and express love, gratitude, and emotion. I'll see you soon.
A warm hello to our new listeners. I'm Sophie, editor of the Australian Women's Weekly, and we're so happy you're joining us on this new chapter. For over 90 years, the Australian Women's Weekly has been a trusted home of real love stories, the kind that are messy and funny and quietly miraculous, just like real life, and just what we all need right now. Now, with the Australian Women's Weekly Love Stories, we're wrapping those stories around you in lots of new ways. Online, in your ears, wherever you are, making it easy as possible for you to enjoy. So, if you've grown up with the Weekly or you're just finding us now, welcome. And we'd love you to come on this new adventure with us, exploring every kind of love and the real things that matter to all of us. And because you're listening, and we value that, we've got something special just for you. A discounted subscription to the Australian Women's Weekly so you can dive even deeper into the stories you're liking. Just head to womensweekly.com.au to find out more. And thank you so much for being part of our Love Stories family. Now back to the chat.
So then I guess, with everything going on with work, because you're both incredibly busy as well, you're raising a little boy, how do you keep your relationship going outside of all of those demands? Like, how do you keep all of, what the love that underpins it?
It's a really good point. And I think it's funny you say that because like tonight we're going out to dinner together and we've got a babysitter coming.
Yes.
It's still important to have those moments and spend time together. And we're both working, we're both full-time, working now in different parts of the city in quite demanding jobs.
And I've got all my other side projects as well, children's book coming out and things like that. So we're very busy and I find it is hard to have a conversation with Lachie around.
Oh, yeah. But I think that part of it is, so we spending those times together is part of it, but also we're quite big on setting boundaries in terms of leaving work at work because we both work at the same organisation. So we know the same people. We know this. We have the same bosses. We work in different parts of the ABC, but there's that commonality. We rarely talk about it at home.
Yeah, we make a conscious effort not to.
We don't talk about the news.
No.
We do because we're both curious people interested in the world.
But we make a conscious effort to stop at a certain point, don't we?
Yeah, not more than any other couples might talk about the news at home. We actually try to leave work at work, even though we do have those commonalities. And I think usually, and people are surprised about that. They think we go home and just gossip about work the whole time.
No, normally we're talking about the latest thing we're watching on TV or
on a streaming service. What silly thing Lachie's done now. It's a very different existence.
The other thing I think we've become very good at is like we've got huge circles of friends. My family is huge. We have had to be very I guess what's the word, kind of choosy about we can't go to everything. And there has to be time just for us at home where, there are some weekends where, we just go full pelt from sport to music class to, event to event to event. And at the end of the weekend, we think we haven't actually spent any time together, had a conversation. And so there are weekends where, we might be invited to things, but we might actually just consciously go, you know what, we don't have the capacity for this and we just want to be a family at home. And I think it's hard to do that and maybe not everyone understands it, but for us it's been really important.
We're quite protective about family time now, I think, and just being the three of us, which is and so now, look, during the week it's hard. We often work at opposite ends of the day. Until recently I was in breakfast radio, and so I could never drop Lachie off in the morning at daycare, all of that. So now in particular the weekends are sacred, I think, and Nas has got him enrolled in every activity in Sydney. So
Which is like also getting all that energy, that 4-year-old energy out.
He's so full of energy. We just wanted him, we've got sport, music, swimming, and I guess that's what we love, sitting on the sidelines or in the corner of the music class and just whispering to each other about like how he's going, and that's really lovely. I think
that's my favourite part of the week. Honestly, you leave, because we do cover. There's a lot of horrible stuff going on in the world at the moment, right? And as journalists, we are immersed in it, whether it's Nas and the NDIS is a big story at the moment and all the stuff around that, whether it's a journalist with me, it's everything going on overseas and all of that, a lot of uncertainty. So to leave all that behind and to go and watch Lachie try to hit a golf ball
or play the guitar.
Or play the drums. Rookie parent error. He's playing the drums.
Yeah, that was my fault.
No.
He's gravitated towards a drum kit.
No noisy toys.
I know. He loves the
there's
drum.
a lot of silliness for us at home. And that's on purpose, because I think we love to laugh. We love to just have fun. And it's because our work is so intense and all-consuming, and we are totally 100% on board when we're there. But, when we're home, there are times where I know I should be looking at my email, but I make a conscious effort not to.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful, because I think for all of us, the news can feel overwhelming even if we're not working in a newsroom.
Yeah.
So that's, a good point to make. Like, it's okay, switch off, enjoy the simple things, and look after yourself.
And enjoy them together, right? Because since Nas... maybe it's not because of your vision impairment, but maybe it is. We don't have a lot of screens at all. So
no, we really don't.
We never. Lachie, I remember a little while ago, asked us if we had a TV, and it was there.
I had to point to it and say, "Yeah, darling, it's right there."
He didn't understand the concept of a television, because actually, frankly, we don't really turn it on all that much. So the idea
we have audiobooks on.
Yeah,
he plays
instead.
music.
We don't have. He doesn't have an iPad.
No, he now watches, the odd movie on a weekend or something. But actually, there's not a lot of screen time there. I don't know whether that's because of our discipline or whether it's because his mum doesn't use screens. But it hasn't it hasn't evolved into that. So it is a lot of time just us doing things together. He loves puzzles and that kind of thing.
And reading. He loves reading, and it's very, very sweet. So we do story time as a family every night, and if Tom is not there on a particular night and it's just the two of us, he will actually choose a book and he will just sit and make up a story and read to me, and it's really beautiful. Or he'll pick a book that is a bit more tactile, so he might pick a book with puppets in it, or a book that he knows that I have memorized, and it's very sweet.
His awareness of his mum's disability is really special.
That's gorgeous.
It's really special. He's very patient with you, much more than he is with me.
Yes.
And he just from a very early age, he got it, and he knew how he had to adjust. And he has always. He's never pushed the boundaries with you at all.
No,
really.
No.
It's been really lovely seeing that, and at a very early age.
And even just knowing to get my hand to put it on certain things that he wants to show me. And I think partly his language has developed very quickly and is very expansive because of this, because sometimes he will be trying to articulate something and I'll have to say to him, just stop and think about it and find some words to describe what you're looking at. And he does. And he will tell me what he's looking at or what he's seeing, or if we're in a taxi and they've gone past our house, he will actually say, driver, you've gone past our house. And so he explains loads of things to me as well, which is really lovely.
Yeah, I think we all need to learn to use our words a little better sometimes.
Yes.
So maybe we'll all take lessons from Lachie.
True.
Maybe that's where our takeaway.
Yeah.
Well, I guess as he's growing up and you're looking at what the future looks like, both for him and as a family, what do you hope that looks like, and what do you hope that, what role do you hope that love plays within that?
That's a really good question.
He and I say I say to him every night, we call it special words, where I say, I love you today, tomorrow and forever. And he now says them to me. And I want him to always know know that that's how we feel. Like we make a conscious effort to say I love you all the time to him. And I think particularly, because he is a boy, I want him to know that it is important to articulate that, whether it's to a partner, a friend, or to say thank you. I want him to express love and gratitude deeply and openly. It's always been a very conscious thing for me. And I've always been very conscious that I want him to express emotions in a healthy way. And we've always talked about that, how are you feeling? How does that make you feel? All those sorts of things. I think, that's been very important to me. And I think inherently, possibly because I have disability, I think he's going to be more empathetic than your average young boy because he's had to be.
That was really summed up beautifully. Did you have anything to add?
I agree with everything Nas said, and I want him to just grow up and be accepting and be a loving human who accepts disability and accepts everyone. Sometimes I get worried these days being a boy. You hear all with social media and all this manosphere stuff that's going around, and increasingly so. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I do worry about the road ahead raising a boy in that environment. And I just hope that he, turns his back on toxic masculinity and all of this stuff that, I have to cover as a journalist all the time. And when I do cover that stuff in the news, I'm like, please, can our son just, understand the right way to be a boy/man in life. And I hope that we just got to teach him the best that we can.
Yeah. I think that's why we've been so conscious about, we never ever say, stop crying, don't cry. We always talk about feelings, and I think we've done that on purpose.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to be affectionate.
Yeah.
All of this kind of man up stuff, toughen up sort of thing. We don't try to. We just try to shun all of that. Take it, so he doesn't absorb any of that mentality. So sometimes these days I worry about that. I'm so glad. As a man/boy back in the day, I didn't grow up in an age of social media sometimes. Social media has its positives. We're on it now. It absolutely does. But I just hope that he reaps the benefits of the positives and not the negatives of it.
Well, so much of it comes down to modelling when you're raising kids, and it sounds like you've got a beautiful model that you've built at home.
I hope so.
I hope so. And it's the little things, isn't it? It's like, encouraging him to say sorry when he has done something wrong, that we say sorry to him when we have done something wrong as well. And I think, rules we have in our house are not just for Lachie, they're for everybody. I think we're trying our very best to raise him in a house that, is centered on equality and gratitude and empathy and expressing emotion in a really healthy way. And hopefully he carries that into his own life. And I think also knowing who he is and being comfortable with who he is. It's really important to me that he has, an air of confidence about him, but in a healthy way, that it doesn't matter who he is or what he wants to wear or the things he likes, that he knows it's okay to be himself. So, I think,
it'll be a journey, but we're working on it. It's in our minds at the moment.
Yes.
And so far, so good.
Yeah.
I like to think.
Yes.
Well, look, let's check back in when the teenage
We'll
is
let you know.
maybe we'll have another version of
Indeed.
this chat on the Love Stories couch.
Indeed.
Yeah. But until that point, thank you so much for joining me and sharing your story. It's been just such a lovely chat. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having us.
Likewise. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, I really enjoyed that conversation. Nas and Tom are incredibly strong individuals, but my gosh, together, what a force they are. I really adored hearing about the early days of their romance and those gifts that spoke 1,000 words. Seriously, how funny was that story about Tom buying Nas a corkscrew at Coles? The way that they're raising their son, though, in a world where ableism is so casually used, is absolutely incredible. I'm really hoping that Lachie and his preschool pals are helping turn the tide when it comes to conversation about disability and difference. This new generation, what a wonderful gift they're passing on. You've been listening to Love Stories with me, Tiffany Dunk for the Australian Women's Weekly. If you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, please share it with a friend or leave us a review or a rating. It really helps other people to find us and keep that love going. We'll be back next week with another story about the many ways that we find, sometimes lose, but always choose love. I hope to see you then. This episode is supported by Vixen, Australian-made skincare powered by plant cell technology and designed to bring real simplicity back to skincare.
This is an R Media podcast.